Welcome to the Other 99% podcast. I'm your host, Lisa Duck, a coffee-loving direct sales enthusiast who's obsessed with a good digital system. Come join me for a realistic look into the world of direct sales. We'll explore inspiring perspectives, learn about unique business tips, and celebrate success stories that often go untold. Because on the Other 99%, every seller matters. Hey everyone, it is me, Lisa, and welcome back to another episode of the Other 99%. For those of you who are listening in real time, this episode is being launched on December 31st, and we are closing the end of 2024. And I thought of such a cool way to share everything that has happened in the podcast over 2024. I have pulled out every single guest we've had, their quote or their tips, of words of advice that they've shared on their episodes, and compiled it into this one episode for you, so that you can listen to it and be inspired to go into 2025 and do great things. So have a listen. This is all the guests from 2025. Just wanted to give them a big shout out and thank you for joining me on the podcast. And I hope you enjoy.
So my favorite quote, and I actually use this as my team quote too, and I can never remember the guy's name because it's a name that is not very common, but I'll send it to Lisa. But it's individually we are one drop, together we are an ocean. That means so much to me because I love the ocean. If you know me, you know that I am all about the beach. I live a couple miles from the beach now, which also makes me super happy. But individually, we are one drop. We can do so little individually. But when we combine with all those other drops, with Lisa, with the people in the Modern Direct Seller Academy, with my teammates, with my upline, my downline, my community, that's when you can do amazing things. And it makes it so much more fun too.
I would say to think about doing things today that are going to give you more time tomorrow. And I might have borrowed that from Roy Baden. So I'm pretty sure he has that in one of his books, Procrastinate on Purpose or Take the Stairs. But really thinking about your business over the long haul, because if we can make money come fly out of thin air and land in your lap today, I would promise to give you all of my secrets to make that happen. But the reality is direct sales is a long-term business, and it's not likely going to happen overnight for you. So when you're thinking about building your business with intentionality, it's really creating those things, those systems, those tools, that infrastructure to build your business today to free up more time tomorrow. And what I mean by that is, maybe it's an email sequence, and you know that email sequence, once you write it one time, is going to continue to serve you every time a new person subscribes to your email list. Or creating this podcast episode today. We know this took 45 minutes for Lisa and I to record, but the reality is this episode is going to get listened to over and over and over again, right? So creating assets and resources and leaning into systems in your business to create more time and income for you in the near future is well worth it. So I just want to encourage anyone listening that, there isn't a secret magic bullet answer to make your business grow exponentially overnight. But when you focus on the right things and you build that infrastructure, that success is going to continue to grow over time.
My first thought that came to me is the only way to quit is if you quit yourself. When I was stuck in that rut and kind of burnt myself out, that was the thing that stuck me. It's okay, just don't quit. Just don't give up. Just stay in your lane, which is my second one. So really just stay in your lane. I remember being told that when I first started with Epicure, actually, was stay in your lane. And I'm like, I don't know what that means. Like, what do you mean by that? And then I heard a story about Michael Phelps, and that just completely resonated with me. Sometimes I need to have analogies to understand things. And the Michael Phelps story. So he was swimming, and I don't know the other guy's name off the top of my head, but he was swimming with one of the best. And he was afraid that he was not going to win against this other competitor. And he just said, you know what, heads down. I'm going to stay in my lane. I'm not going to look around me, and really just stay in my lane and focus and not look to see where they're at to see if I am beating them or not. So he did end up winning that first initial race, and because he stood in his lane, he didn't look up, halfway through to see where the other guy was. He just focused on the end goal and stayed in his lane. So I think hearing that story and that analogy, I finally get it. So staying in my lane and to not quit unless you're going to quit on yourself.
That's such a great question. I have two, and I have to share the first one because it's funny, but it's literally the truth. I actually taught my son very young in life, like this is legit, is never accept the first offer. Never. I can't tell you how many people just accept the first offers and things. Like, it's wild to me. And maybe it might not pertain to your direct sales. I'm not sure. Maybe it's just in life, like when you have to go do other things, but just that's a good one.
Mm-hmm.
But with selling and entrepreneurial, endeavors, I would say there's a whole lot of dreamers, not enough doers. Like, everyone can dream, not everyone will do.
I would say don't join direct sales because you want to like make abundance of money. Like, you have to love what you sell. So you should definitely join a company that has a product that you will consistently use, that you can sell, that because you need to be a product of the product.
I don't know if there's a specific quote, but I have to say to anyone, especially women, and something that I'm very, very passionate about, is to continue to find yourself and who you are. And I think direct sales lets us do that. It lets us become something else beside, like I alluded to earlier, the woman, instead of like the mother or the wife or whatever you are, the employee for somebody else. It gives you an outlet to find yourself and be able to gain confidence through that, and to not allow your age to stop you from following your dreams of even doing what I do.
I know I mentioned this throughout our conversation today, but I can't help but reiterate the importance of focusing on selling you. Create your presence. Who are you? Focus on that, guys. I promise you, if you just remember who you are and let people see you, you will build your business much, and I'm not going to say quicker because it's not about being quick. It'll just be more quality. I don't even want to use the word quality, but there's more value in it than just trying to do the cookie cutter system and doing these cold calls, cold messaging, and doing hard sells all the time. There are ways to be strategic and get your business out there. I do it all the time. I am selling almost daily, but most people don't know that. So there's ways to do this that you can sell and be just real and genuine. Just be you.
Mine would be a lot like Leah says. Be passionate about what you're selling. Don't just sell because it's there, and do your research and do it.
I thought about this, and I could give somebody else's quote, but I thought, why not give my own, right?
Right.
I've got a couple of pretty good quotes that are out there that people use. So my one that I've had forever, which I still totally love, is random acts get random results. So be intentional. And I truly believe that sort of sums up how so many direct sellers work their business on a very random basis. So if they would, random acts get random results. So be intentional. Even if you do it part-time, be intentional in your part-time hours that you have for your business. Even if it's a hobby, be intentional with your hobby. So that's one. Another one that I have, these are a couple little ones, and they're each great tips. What gets scheduled gets done.
Okay.
So scheduling is important because even the things that you want to do, maybe that's do a special fun project with your kids. Maybe it's work out. Maybe it's whatever it is. What gets scheduled gets done. And then I would say those are kind of two of my favorites. The other one that I love, which goes with the mindset, but the story you tell yourself is the one you will believe. So make sure you're telling yourself a good story about yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Because we don't, self-talk is so important, because we'll believe it. You will believe it.
Yes, I do. Actually, I have two things.
Mm-hmm.
So one is get comfortable being uncomfortable. And I will tell you that this 100% is my year of being so uncomfortable with everything that I'm doing.
Mm-hmm.
And it's allowing me to propel personally and professionally in ways that I never thought would be possible. So if you can just be okay with being uncomfortable and trust the process, you're going to be okay.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And then the other little thing, people always say that anything is possible. And I just say to people, everything is possible, right?
Mm-hmm.
No limitations. And it doesn't matter if it takes you 2 seconds or 2 years to get there. The fact is that you're on your own journey, right?
Yeah.
Oh, and when you find those small successes in that journey, you have to celebrate them.
So when I first started my own business back in 2017, I listened to this podcast with Amy Porterfield, and I don't remember who she was interviewing, but I will get the link to you, Lisa, so that you can add it. But it was basically around the value of see work is okay. It, like really the perfection of it is going to hold you back from doing the things that are going to get you to where you're going. And nobody starts out perfect. I mean, I have a podcast as well. I think I'm on like episode 240 something crazy.
Mm-hmm.
I will never go back and listen to my old episodes. Like they're awful. They're not awful, but like you just got to get started and practice and put things out there. Don't worry about the typos. Don't worry about the errors on the graphics. Don't worry about, accidentally sending something to the wrong list. Anytime you make mistakes, it's an opportunity to learn. And it's an opportunity for a conversation. Like when somebody writes me back and is like, hey, there was a typo in your email. Great. You were reading my email. Like that. Thank you. Like, oh, I'll totally get that fixed. It's an opportunity for a conversation. So really just getting started, think about if I can just put out C-level work, at least I'm getting out there, I'm doing it, and I can always improve from there.
I actually have a couple. One, a recent quote from a leader. She went to a leadership conference for the company, and they had a great quote that says, "Whatever you have done is nothing compared to what you can do." And I see that as only you can hold yourself back. I mean, there's only so many times that you can blame others for not being successful. You have to have that drive. You have to have that passion. You have to put in the energy to be successful. And then another one, this is just something that, my team leaders always say. They say, go for no. Don't be afraid of people saying no to you. It's not personal. If you have that fear of the no, you're stopping yourself from growing.
I've got some specific ones, but I want to say as well, like be a product of the product. Like Leah said, Consuela said that, like love what you're doing.
There are two instead of one, if that's okay.
Yeah, that's perfect.
I live by these. And one is you can control the activity, you can't control the outcome. And so many times people, they get discouraged or anything like that. And as long as you can control the activity and sort of take the emotion out of the outcome, it will come, so you sort of do that. And the second one is confidence is contagious. Even if you have to fake it, it's, the confidence it builds, and then the people around you are confident, so it's two of my things that I kind of every once in a while, okay, can't control that, let it go, kind of things that you think are going to work out and then they don't, right?
Mm-hmm.
But you've done the activity, and it's just, there are two that I mean, there's so many of them, but those are two that I live by myself.
So this was from a recent Norwex meeting with local consultants all got together. One of the leaders said, old keys don't open new doors. And that kind of hit me, meaning you can't move forward using the old key, trying to do the same processes you were doing maybe years or months before that wasn't working to move forward. So you have to kind of shift and move with the times.
Well, one that has been ringing in my ears the last little while is, if it's to be, it's up to me. I work hard on having a positive mindset, and I know things change. COVID happened, and things change, and things change in the business, and even business changes. I mean, I'm a little bit closer to retirement than fresh start in my jobs, but I do feel that that we need to be looking at the younger generation and being flexible with that. And so that's the thing. If it's to be, is up to me.
This one I just heard not long ago, but it's actually on my wall over there. And it's stop expecting you from other people.
Mm-hmm.
That
awesome.
one really, really hit me when I read that one, because a lot of us do that. And then when we're not getting what we expect from other people, we let ourselves down.
Mm-hmm.
So we need to stop doing that.
Yeah, that was an easy one actually for me, because it's one that a quote that I think of all the time. And it's, the secret to success is the consistency of purpose. And it can be it's been in many other, so in my life before Epicure, I worked at Weight Watchers, and that's actually where that came from. I was a leader for Weight Watchers for 10 years. So that came up there, which kind of is fitting. Secret to success is the consistency of purpose, whether it's good health or weight loss or whatever. But now it's kind of for that business sense of your purpose can change depending on what you're talking about, right? And your success can change depending on what you're talking about. So yeah, I know. I think it's just a pretty well-rounded quote. The secret to success, what do you want? Well, then you've just got to consistently make it intentional to work at it then. And what's your purpose? What's your purpose? My purpose right now is I value a home-cooked meal, and I don't want to spend the day cooking it, and I want to show people that they can as well.
So I want to just leave with this food for thought, okay? Because so many people are like I said earlier in the call, right? How do I motivate them to do this? Or I'm just not motivated. How many times have you not been motivated to do something, to go work out, but you do it anyway? Right? Or, I'm not motivated to sit down and do whatever with my business today. I just don't feel like it. I just want to, watch my show and play Candy Crush all day today. Well, that's not going to get your business anywhere. It's not going to pay you. I just did hear something on a call too, is what did you do today to make sure you're getting paid? And I thought that was really good. And, we all hear the terms IPAs, what income producing activity are we going to do? But I really liked, what am I going to do today to make sure I get paid? But so my point is, action creates motivation. So many of us wait to be motivated to take action. And we've got that transposed, and we need to take action to get motivation.
Well, actually, I kind of have two, but they're somewhat interconnected, is be your authentic self. I feel like sometimes we put on a different persona, or are doing things that are out of our, who we are, for the sake of a sale. But like going with the mindset of, I'm here to help people. I authentically want to help you. That speaks, if you believe that, and that's what your goal is, your customer will feel that. If your customer feels like you are desperate for a sale or a party, they will feel that too. So lead with your authentic self, and just be helpful to people. The other tip is talk to people like a human, which is part of being authentic. like, how can you help them? So they're interested in a pan. Like, I need a skillet. Oh, well, start asking questions and be curious. Well, what do you use your skillet for? Oh, you're single, you cook for one. Okay, well, you don't need a ginormous, like 5-quart skillet. You need just a small 8-inch. You're just authentically helping them, and they're going to feel it, and they're going to feel special. And that's what somebody wants in their buying experience when they spend money with you. They want you to be real and helpful and meet their needs.
I don't know if you feel this way, but sometimes I feel like I always just want to take the easiest route to doing something and to getting something done. And I think I was having this conversation with myself in my own head this morning. And I was like, people need to start just getting comfortable with doing things 80%. Life and business. Because if we could complete everything at 80%, we would be so much further ahead than those of us that are looking at 100% perfection, right? Yeah. Then we waste so much time that we almost don't even do the thing because we want it to be so perfect. But if we were okay with 80%, we would get so much more done.
I think this came from global ambassador Kayla Troutman with Epicure. I'm not sure, but perfection is the enemy of done. And I used to really partner with a spirit of perfection, and it actually robbed me of my joy. I would physically be ill because I felt as if my presentation wasn't perfect. It wasn't any good. And when I learned to just let it go and be fluid and enjoy the moment and get rid of the perfection, I found more joy in my work. I felt better. I heard people more because I wasn't focusing on me. And I actually saw the people in front of me. Rather than having the most perfect presentation, it was more, okay, how can I serve these people? How can I serve the person in front of me? How can I serve that person in the back of the room who's taking lots of notes? And I just found my joy again when I got rid of that perfection.
One of my mentors in life is Maya Angelou. And my favorite quote from her is, I've learned that people will forget what you said, people will forget what you did, but people will not forget how you made them feel.
I will say this. I do think every direct seller needs to hear this. You are enough. You are worthy. You are enough. It doesn't matter how much you make. It doesn't matter how many people on your team. It doesn't matter how many parties you have. It doesn't matter if you reach your sales goal this month or not. You are enough. Like, you are worthy for who you are now. So I think in this industry, it's so easy to base our self-worth on our rank, or how many, how much sales we're bringing in, or all of that. And that has nothing to do with your worth. Okay. And it's especially hard when you lose your rank, right? Which happens all the time. Your title, you get a title and then you don't make it for the next month or the next 3 months, and then you lose it. And it's a whole thing that affects us mentally. But I'm going to encourage you to kind of try and detach yourself from that, because you're enough with the title and without a title. You're enough making $200 a month, making $3,000 a month. Like, it doesn't matter. None of that matters. That's all external. But recognizing that who you are today, just because you exist, is that you're worthy and you are enough. So just remind yourself of that, because I do think that's something that so many direct sellers struggle with.
This is definitely something for every direct seller and everyone in general. Everyone can use this piece of advice. Several years ago, I was listening to a workshop, and the speaker came on and talked about, she said, everything is figure outable. Okay, so we know that's not a real word. That concept is everything. I don't know. I don't care what it is. Every single thing that you need to do, you can figure it out. There's coaches, there's YouTube, there's Google. There's so much out there. Anything you want to know, you can figure it out.
I think two come to mind, so hopefully I can incorporate those two.
Yeah.
One is comes from Sylvie, who obviously started Epicure, and she says, too much is given, much is expected. She says that repeatedly in all of our our conferences. And I think, and it could be of anything, right? Too much is given, too much of time or energy or spare change even. Like, just share what you have. It doesn't hurt you to share, and to give, and just to be of service. And then and the other quote that always comes to mind is from Tara, of course, our a very good team leader of mine in Epicure. She's been with Epicure forever. If it's meant to be, it's up to me. And that is not just in Epicure or in business, but in life. Like, take the reins for your own life and just have fun. Be yourself. Only you can determine where your journey takes you. And despite, all the runarounds and the side, life is never easy, and life always gives you hurdles and speed bumps. But you get to determine what it looks like, right? Be bold, be yourself, just have fun.
Well, one of my favorite quotes, I believe, is by Mark Twain. Now, this could be one of those that's been attributed to him, but who knows if it really is. But it is, the secret of getting ahead is getting started. And to me, that resonates a lot because I do tend to run into perfectionism, which makes me stop and not want to do the thing because I think I have to have all the ducks in the row and to do it right. And in general, I think that this business can be like that for a lot of us. We think we have to have all the pretty stuff and this and the organization. And in the end, just making the phone call, sending the text, reaching out is sometimes all you have to do. So that's one of my favorite quotes because it reminds me to get over myself and just do it.
I love that. I love that. I should pin that up on my wall.
This might sound rude or like in your face, but it is something that I have carried with me for forever, is figure it out. So I'm an only child, so I've never had to have someone else work with me or like, how should we do this? I've always had to just figure it out. So if there is something that I am doing, that's the first thing that comes to my mind. Like, how can I, you talking about, it's already implemented, but that's just how my brain works. Like, how can I get this started today? What do I need to do to work through this problem? Can I do it by myself? Do I need to bring other people in? Do I need to watch a YouTube video or listen to a book? Like, what do I need to do to make sure that I can get through this so that I can figure it out? But everything is figure outable, like Marie Forleo says, right?
Yep.
Everything is figure outable. So how can I figure this out?
It is not about the sales. It's about building relationships. If you focus on the sales, you're going to get simple, or you're going to get very minute amounts. But if you focus on building relationships with people, find what their dilemma is, what is their problem, and then help them solve that, give them suggestions, give them ideas to help them, the sales will happen.
Personally, and it's not a quote, but that really consistency in business is key. A lot of people have said over the last 7 years, oh, well, you got really lucky that person signed under you, or you got really lucky that you met that person at that vendor event and she hosted that party because that really grew your business in a crazy way. And you got lucky. And yeah, but I was doing all the work consistently to meet that person. I was signing up for the vendor events. I was following up with all of the people I met at vendor events. I was consistently showing love to my VIP group after I got them into there. And so, you can't strike gold if you're not digging for it. And you really have to do all the work and consistently connect with your customers to be successful in this business.
Keep trucking. Act like a million people are watching you. A million people are liking your post. A million people are commenting, and you're making $1 million. Always act like that. Because if you get too wrapped up in those numbers, which we've all done it, I only have 5 likes. Nobody commented. It doesn't matter. It really, truly doesn't matter. And if you get stuck in that mindset, take a minute and think, do you comment and like every single post that you like? And the answer to that is probably no. So if you don't do it, don't expect everybody to like and comment on yours. Just keep going.
It's a business. And if you want to make money, if you want to be successful, you have to be willing to work it. You have to be willing to put in the time to build the connections. Otherwise, it's not going to just come to you. If money just came to you, then everybody would be doing it.
I hope you found those quotes and tips and tricks very inspiring, and they move you into 2025. I just wanted to put a shout out there, letting you know that I am looking for guests for the 2025 podcasts episodes. So if you're interested in being a guest, be sure to go to my website, lisaduck.com, click on the podcast link and hit be a guest, fill out the form, and I'd love to connect. Thanks so much, everyone. Have an amazing 2025. This episode of the Other 99% podcast has been brought to you by Spice It Up with Lisa Duck. If you're struggling with the question of what's for dinner, let Epicure help you put quick, delicious, family-friendly meals on the table in 20 minutes or less. Learn more about what Epicure has to offer. Visit spiceitupwithlisaduck.com. And if you're new to Epicure, be sure to use promo code EPIC15 in your cart at checkout for 15% off your entire first order. Hey, thanks so much for taking the time to listen to the podcast. I hope you enjoyed this episode. If you would take a minute to rate and review the podcast, I would absolutely love it. And if you know someone who really needs to hear this podcast, please feel free to share it with them. More listeners, the better. And if you know someone who would like to be a guest on the podcast, or you yourself would like to be a guest, be sure to check the link in the show notes or visit lisaduck.com and click Be a Guest. We'll talk to you soon.